Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Workspace Setup 101 webinar. So excited you decided to join us this afternoon or morning, wherever you are. My name is Kate. I'm the product marketing manager. I'm also the person who is in your email inbox pretty frequently. So you may recognize my name as well as Michaela. She is the head of brand and content. We are going to be taking you guys through just a brief overview of our Workspace setup.
Great. Thank you, Kate. I will take over quickly for a little bit, and then I'll pass back over to Kate, our product guru. So I'll quickly be talking a little bit about Hive. A lot of the people on this webinar already know about Hive and the basics of your workspace. But for anyone who's either going to use this as a recording to share with new hires or people they're onboarding, I want to make sure to cover all of our bases, as well as some basic Hive terminology that I think is important for the demo component, which Kate will be doing after I kind of wrap up the terminology and intro overview. Again, thank you guys for joining. We appreciate it and are very excited to take you through everything. So Hive and Hive's mission. So we are all about helping teams move faster. This has been the mission since I joined, 5 years ago. It's a critical part of the Hive message and the Hive goal. And part of that is ease of use as well as flexibility. So making sure that teams are able to use Hive in the way that works for them, at a small level, and also have that be scalable across organizations or teams. We've had teams start with Hive, a handful of people, and grow in the hundreds with us. So we want to make sure that we're setting you up for success at a basic level in your workspace, and you're able to get the most out of Hive, so that as you grow and continue to bring people on, you can grow with Hive, and we can help you achieve all the things that you need to in Hive and beyond. So that's a little bit about Hive. A lot of you probably already know that, but another thing that is definitely a common concept within project management, but I really wanted to make sure to review this because, like I said, I know a lot of people have asked us for this recording to send to new hires, and I wanted to make sure that we cover the basics. Hive terminology 101. Feel like I'm a college professor. So projects, these are your big picture initiatives. Projects are made up of action cards, and this is where the customization starts. We have a lot of teams that choose to either make projects that have multiple nested sub-projects underneath them. So if you look on that project navigator image on the right-hand side, you can see that that client one project then has multiple sub-projects underneath it, whereas client two, there are no expanded sub-projects. So projects are very flexible in that you can almost create a sort of portfolio of projects under that parent project, or you can just leave it at one project and keep all of your projects separate. It's really up to you. And then actions are going to be these smaller components of your project. So, with most project management tools, the tasks or actions are the individual things that you want to be completing in order to complete your project, or, get to the next level, or continue to move through the course of your project. And actions can either be an individual action, or like projects, they can be nested. So that means that, I could have a task that is, set up webinar. And within that task, in order to complete it, I have multiple subtasks. So this is part of the action card, which I will be going into on the next slide here. And again, I wanted to keep this high level and focus on 5 key components of the action card that I think everyone needs to know about when setting up their workspace. And again, this is customizable. So if you want to, not add one of these things, you can absolutely do that. But from a basic level, what you're going to need is an action card title. So that's up in this image. That's the video asset component. Under that, you can have your description. So this is as much or as little information as you want to provide about the action itself. Ideally, we find that teams like to have, they can either put links out here. You can, give your teammates additional insight into, how you want the action to be completed, etc. And then in that sub-action section right underneath, you're going to see the individual actions that ladder up into that larger action. And the importance of sub-actions for a lot of teams and how a lot of teams set up their workspaces and their projects is that sub-actions can be assigned to multiple people. So when you see in the upper right-hand corner of this action card, you see Yvonne is our assignee. This is another critical part of the action card and the setup is obviously if you have a task, you want to make sure someone is responsible for it. So that's going to be assigned to someone. Here we have Yvonne as the assignee, and under that we have the dates. So the due dates of the task, which can be recurring, they can be an individual date, they can be a time range. There's, you can really customize this. But the importance of these two things is that when you go in to add a sub action, you can essentially break down the task further. So if I wanted to assign a sub action to myself or to Kate or to our boss Suze, we could assign these sub actions separate from the main action so that Suze or myself would be responsible for the sub actions laddering up into the parent action that Yvonne is tackling. And you can see here that we've assigned one of the sub actions a different date from the parent action. And this is just another way to make sure that all of the actions are, clearly explained and the team clearly understands what needs to happen before the parent action can be completed. So these are just kind of like the 5 building blocks to keep in mind at the very basic level when you're setting up your workspace. There are many more things that you can do with an action card, but for now, I wanted to cover these items. And then once you've got your actions and your projects, how are you going to understand them, digest them, view them, work through them? That's going to be it with our project views. So in Hive, we have multiple different project views, which can all be customized based on your personal preference, which I think is really exciting because let's say I'm working on a project. Kate and I are both working on this customer success project that we have in the image here. I can be viewing it in status view. Kate could be viewing it in calendar view. John, our CEO, could be viewing it in team view. We could all be viewing the project in different ways while still working from the same set of actions. And the views that we would each use would not affect the other person's view. So this is something important that I want to note. So when you go in to set up your ideal Hive workspace or the ideal way you want to view projects or tasks, just because you want to view it in one way doesn't mean that your teammates can't, view it in the way that works best for them. And that's something that I think makes Hive unique. And then your My Actions view is another view that teams really love to use and individuals, which is essentially just the view that has tasks pertaining directly to you. So it's tasks that are assigned to you that can also be filtered for tasks you are following or tasks you have assigned. So this is like a really individual centric view that for me, when I started using Hive and when I was getting used to the way Hive worked, setting up my workspace, my personal workspace within the larger Hive one, My Actions was something that I could always come back to make sure that I was staying on top of tasks and I wasn't, causing any projects to fall behind. And then another way that you can parse through any projects or actions within any view is through filters. So I'm going to, on the next slide, you're going to see here within all of your views, there's an additional way to continue to customize your content. So you're going to see those little 3 lines, the little toggle in them in the upper right-hand corner of your views, whether that's status view, My Actions view, calendar view, and from there, you're going to be able to add additional filters that you want to use to kind of break down your Hive experience in your workspace. And again, this is something that can be unique to each person, which is great. So that is kind of the basics that I wanted to review quickly. So essentially, when you're coming into Hive and you're setting up your team's workspace, know that projects, tasks, and views are kind of critical parts of Hive and can all be customized to really fit for your workflow needs. And now I'm going to pass everything over to Kate.
All right, we are going to jump into a live workspace. Let's see here. Okay, so here I have my workspace here. So let's say you got invited to a workspace, you created a workspace, now what? So I'm going to start sort of from the high level in the projects that you just learned about. So this is an existing project. So this is my new hire onboarding project. So let's say I'm an HR manager creating an onboarding plan for the month. So like you just learned, tasks are called actions in Hive. So I'm going to click into the action. This one is Natasha Billings, junior designer. It has her title, her name, also a little short description just about her experience, her hardware preference, all of that. Within the action card, here you can change the assignee. So here it's assigned to me, but let's say I want to assign it down to someone else on the team, as well as, I know we had a question about this, multiple assignees. You can assign it to as many people as you want, as well as placeholders. You can adjust the due dates. So let's say I want to move it here. That is going to change the due date for the action card, as well as everyone who is on the action or following is going to be notified. You also are able to create these sub actions. So these are able to be assigned out just like a normal action, assigned to multiple people. Let's click into check HR paperwork. As you can see, we have the description, sub actions that go underneath the sub action, labels. You can link it to other projects, dependencies, and you can add these Hive apps. You can add attachments. Let's say you need to add maybe a picture of the person, a picture of something in that onboarding sequence, notes, as well as comments. So, here is check HR paperwork. I want to bump this. Hey, can we check this? I'm going to send this out to Molly, and Molly is going to be notified directly on the action card. So let's go back to this main action. I am going to change the status. So I've started this, I've checked off one or two. I'm going to change it to in progress. Once I do this, this is going to shift the sub action. So, I've completed all these sub actions. Either I manually go in or I click this, all the sub actions are marked complete. So I am going to X out of here. So as you can see, this jumped to the in progress column. This project view is our status view. So one of the project views in Hive, it's, if you want to see the timeline of something, if you want to see a project roadmap, this is super helpful. You're able to drag the status around, directly do it on the action card and see, what is completed there. So we're going to quickly go over the project views, just sort of go into them at a high level view. But like I said, you can jump to any of these project views and, it's not going to change for the person also looking at this project. This is completely up to you what you prefer. So this is our status view. This is our team view. So this is great for team leads to see exactly what you are working on. If you want to see this person has this many tasks, maybe we want to assign this out to someone else. Super easy to just drag and drop. You can reassign work. As you can see here, I have all of my team. I want to add Alice. She's my number one. Add her over here. This is super great for managers. So I'm going to go into calendar view. This is my favorite. So for anyone who, likes to see everything at a glance, see when things are exactly due, this is all the same information, just again, a different way of looking at it. So here I have a month, July, this is what I know that I need to accomplish on each day. You can also narrow it down to week by week, nothing this week, let's here, as well as 6 months. You can also see, we have some further filters here. So I want to hide, I want to change the working week, lots of options to customize this calendar view. If we head into our label view, here are labels that you set for your workspace. So everyone is able to customize them. I have these two, New York office and LA office. So again, if I was an onboarding manager and I know that Rebecca Jones is in the New York office, I can put her in this label and there she is, applies to all sub actions. We have a couple different labels in the workspace, all of them don't apply to this project, but it's helpful to see, if you want to divide it up into categories. And then we have our tried and true Gantt chart. This is helpful for timelines, seeing the big picture of any projects. If you've used a PM tool, I'm sure you're familiar with the Gantt chart. Here you can see every single task in a list, go down, click into it. Here is the timeline, which you can adjust. It'll show if you have a dependency set on this task, that will show in the Gantt chart. You're able to drag and drop So let's move this over here, vice versa. And again, these are all the action cards. So once you click in, that is the action card itself. There we go. And that opens the card up. And then last one is going to be our table view. It's kind of an Excel file if you like to work in spreadsheets, just sort of a list of everything, super organized chart view. So you can click in, move them around, and it shows status, description, assignees. You can also change these. So if you want to see a couple more things, go into those settings and apply those fields. So now that you've learned about all of the project views, you can kind of play around and see which ones are going to work for you, work for your project. Definitely depends person to person. And I know once you're introducing a tool, people are going to say, I don't want to just look at Gantt view. I want to be able to look at it in a different view. So have all of these options. So now we've looked sort of at projects and those action cards. Now I want to create an action. So I'm going to head up here. I'm going to create a new action card, and let's just stick with the theme of onboarding here. I have a new employee and I need to create an onboarding for them. So I'm going to say Michaela is my new employee. She is going to be the marketing coordinator. That is all. Oops. And there it goes. We'll do another one. We'll do me. I am the marketing coordinator. And this is all the information that you need. So once you have that title, that is built. Description, sub-actions, these are optional. They're nice to have, but definitely not necessary. So let's say I want to make this entire onboarding let's put it out maybe a month. There we go. I'm going to assign it to someone else. I'm out of office the next few weeks, so I need Alice to cover this. Once you're in Hive and you can sort of build everything out, something that's super helpful is templates. So let's say, this is the basic onboarding sequence. I know that I'm going to need all of those sub-actions we saw before. I've already built out a template. So once I go in here, I can apply that onboarding flow template. There we go. And you can see everything is automatically pasted in there. I've made it so that all of the due dates line up. I know this week, usually we have them by the computer, the monitor. Next week is when we really get into the nitty gritty, email address, desk, all of that. And that is all copy and pasted. So once we click out of here, I'm going to kind of go over our My Actions view. So once you log into Hive in the morning, what do I have to work on? I know I have my team. I know I have all these projects, but I want to know what's specific to me. So I click My Action, the home button. These are all of the tasks that are assigned to me. Right now, I have the filter for the next 30 days. If I just want to look at, what do I have this week? Nothing this week. Let's go next week. Okay, this is what I have to work on. And here we go. Again, once you're in the filter, you can customize it here and go, this is what I have to do. Maybe what was assigned by me. If I'm a manager, if I'm a team lead, these are all of the actions that I've assigned out, and I want to check on the status. I want to go in, maybe make some edits. You can also look at the ones you're following. So maybe you're not on the action card itself, you haven't assigned it, but you still want to know. It's still important to you. And there we go. All here. So in My Actions, you can see basically any of the tasks that pertain to you, you want to see, you don't want to see, you're able to customize completely as you like. Once this is done, I finish this, hit the check mark, and there it's complete. So the last thing that I am going to cover here, I know this is a pretty high level overview. I'm going to go into apps. So as you can see, there's a lot of apps in Hive. It would take hours and hours to go through each one. So I'm just going to cover sort of the basics that I find myself using in Hive. We see a lot of users using their day-to-day. There's a lot of information, and I think the last thing people want to do is scroll from app to app, email to email. You want everything to be in one place. So I've connected my Google or Outlook account to my Workspace. Once I've done that, I did that before this, you can connect your Google Drive, Hive Mail, Hive Calendar, as well as your Zoom. And all of these is going to be all your information put into Hive. So for example, our Hive calendar, if I hit this calendar button up here, this is my real-time Google Calendar. So I know, let's go to Thursday, I have this meeting, it's directly in there. I don't need to go to my Google Calendar, say, hey, what do I have? Directly there, you can see, okay, this is coming up, this is what I need to get done, so forth. You can also go to your email inbox. So I'm on my mail. This is my actual inbox in real time. I don't have to jump to my Gmail. Let's say I get a request email to me. So here is a new hire. The cool thing is that you can actually make this into an action card. So, new hire, I know that some other people are going to want to know this information. Instead of forwarding it, it kind of gets lost in translation. I'm actually going to go here and create an action. So let's say, I want to create an action for this. We've updated this. Go up here, create an action, and there you go. It made an action of the email that you received. It's only visible to you until you add people to it, just in case there's any sort of sensitive information. I'm actually going to make this public. And once you scroll down here, you see all the content that is in your email, and then you can assign it out. So, I want everyone to be aware of this. I'm going to assign it to my entire team here, and it's directly in there. So this kind of helps everyone stay aligned, reduces time switching in between different apps. And once you get into Hive, figure out what you like, all of that, you're able to, add more apps into your workspace, pin them to your sidebar, and see which ones that you can use in your day-to-day.
If you have any other questions, please email me or our marketing chat. If you have any support team questions, you can get to them. You can get to that directly from the question mark in your Hive. So let's say something small that you think maybe we already have an existing help desk article for, or you want to talk to one of our support team members for, please go there. And we also have our Hive University, as well as our video library. And this whole PDF and everything we've talked about will be sent to everyone after this wraps. So again, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Kate, for hosting. And yeah, everyone, I hope you have a great rest of your day and look forward to connecting with everyone individually.